and all of that. I defend her as a human being. I defend her as a comic, but I don't defend her as a victim because, like, you did something controversial to get attention. You got your attention, and move on with your life.
Well, and it wasn't the attention you wanted.
Well,
That's and that's the problem.
Yeah. What was she thinking? That's just what I.
That was some privileged shit. Because this is my thing, right? I would never in my life do something like that thinking I would get away with it. Because I probably would end up in Gitmo, as brown as I am. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's the kind of thing. I think that's what irked me a bit. Is like I was like, people who look like me, we're always being depicted the way she chose to depict herself in that photo, against her will. You're privileged enough to choose to depict yourself like that, and now you're gonna talk like you're a victim. Like, I've always been depicted that way, and I'm not that person. You know what I mean? So I feel like, I'm not gonna cry any extra tears for you because now all of a sudden, like, you lost some of your money. You know what I mean? Over this, like, I don't care. Some people lose their lives. You know, our country, people support wars in certain countries because they think that's what people in those countries are like. So, yeah, I wish I had the freedom to choose to make some political statements, as empty as hers was. You know, so.
Well, and in addition to playing the victim, one of the things that Kathy Griffin was saying this week, and I think she does raise an interesting point, but I don't agree with her conclusion. She says that this is only happening because she's a woman. And cited examples of like a couple of different metal bands that have T-shirts and album covers with artwork depicting Trump with like a bullet hole in his head, and she says, he hasn't said anything about these. This is happening just because I'm a woman.
Stop throwing underground music under the bus.
Yeah,
Rich lady, calm down.
They're not famous. That's why it's not a big
famous.
deal. Oh my god.
I think part of it is because she's a woman. Because I think if Louis C.K. did it, he'd get a lot more support. But I don't think that's the main reason why people reacted.
No, and I think this weekend, the film Wonder Woman opened up. Number one movie this weekend. It got almost $39 million on its opening night. It's projected to win the weekend with $98 million at the box office. Obviously a female star, because female superhero. Female director, and a lot of people have been touting this movie as a victory for women in Hollywood, and especially because of the financial success, that maybe this will open the door for more female-fronted movies and more female-directed movies. My question, I brought this up with you, Raja, before the show. It seems like whenever there is an advancement or something that's seen as, working towards leveling the playing field, that, hey, this isn't gonna, this isn't like, hey, Obama won, racism is over. It's Wonder Woman isn't going to cure sexism in Hollywood and in the industry, but it's a step in that direction. But it seems like every time a step is made in that direction, you get someone like Kathy Griffin saying, oh, this is just being done because I'm a woman. And sort of pulling things, and I mean, granted, this is a white-looking privileged male here, so I'm talking out my ass. This is my perception. We have two actual women in the studio.
Two women of color in the studio.
Yeah, that's true also. So I'm going to shut up. But what do you guys think of yammering and the subjects?
Well, I don't think the Kathy Griffin thing is necessarily a step back. I don't see the Kathy Griffin and the Wonder Woman thing in any kind of opposition. It's almost a completely separate issue. So that's kind of how I see that there. I think on the Kathy Griffin side, she's just annoying. She's always been. There are lots of men in the world who make the rest of men look kind of bad, and Kathy Griffin is not the worst person, but she's, not exactly like a shining beam of women, like a beacon of like, oh yeah, this is how women should be. Like, what her career is built on gossiping about celebrities,
calling women fat on the red carpet.
Calling women fat and just being everything. Like, I don't want to be her ever. If I ever become like her in any way in my comedy, please tell me to quit.
And by the invitation is still open. Kathy Griffin, if you do want to be on this show and speak your mind, we would love to have you on. But it's funny, you're saying I would never want to be here. And I was telling Raja, when I first moved out to LA, I would pass the Laugh Factory on my way to work every day. and looking at the names on the marquee, like Kathy Griffin, Dane Cook, Bob Saget, I would drive by and go, yeah, that's not my audience. That's not where my people are going.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I think that I think there's a truth that I think depending on what man. If it was Louis C.K., I bet there'd be a lot more male comics defending her. Like Jim Carrey's one of the few like big name white male comics I saw really defend her. I think there'd be a bigger uproar. I think people would. So I think if it was a male, yeah. But I think it contributes to it in a way. But I don't think it's like the main like to quote you. I don't think it's the heart of the reaction.
I mean, you know. The thing is, if it was a male comedian that was facing the fire for this, I 99.9% can guarantee that there would not be a press conference with the guy coming out and, well, he's just doing this because I'm a man and he finds me threatening as a man.
Well, that's because men don't get treated like that, so why would he do that?
Yeah, that's
like,
cool. Very good point.
That's fair.
Reverse sexism is not real. So, you're not sure about that?
No, well, it's funny. I say this as, it's not necessarily a fact. It's something I've observed over the years, that no value judgment for the whole thought. But it seems to me that any oppressed group, historically, at least over the last century, and in this country, looking at racism, particularly black versus white, looking at sexism, there is going to be a certain faction of the oppressed that are talking about they're fighting for superiority, and not in a white supremacist way, but in a manner of, they've held us down for so long, let's see how they like it. And that usually isn't the crux of the movement. That usually isn't the bulk of the adherents, but those people tend to be louder. And so it presents this, straw man for the opposition to say, well, equality is one thing, but, these black guys, they want to take our jobs and our women, and you get into this whole...
The women just want to get rid of the men.
Well, it's kind of like Amy Schumer put out that horrible leather special that wasn't funny at all, and she said it flopped because the MRA trolls were trolling her.
No.
Which they were trolling her. That's true, and that was wrong, and she has a right to defend herself, but it's not why the special flopped. It flopped because it was terrible.
Yeah.
So.
Unfortunately. Sorry. I love Amy. I love her early stuff. I just want to say that. I love her early stuff. But
that was a bad special.
That wasn't a good special, girl. Amy, if you're listening, girl, you need to please do something better. I love you. Don't do that. With all the love. But back to, getting back to Wonder Woman, though. I think that is very exciting. But it's also not that much progress, though, because... they're just gonna make a bunch more movies that are like shitty female-driven superhero movies, just like with men.
And that's the thing is,
what next?
Because we've seen so many times, looking at late night, people with the recent shift in late night, with Jimmy Fallon taking over on NBC and Colbert taking over for Letterman, there were a lot of people saying, well, why just older white men, why not a woman? And a lot of people in the industry, tried that. Joan, move on.
There's plenty of men that don't work, and we don't stop hiring men.
Exactly. and that's the point, is that what we're going to see is we are going to see a lot of clones coming after Wonder Woman, and I think there are going to be a lot of shitty movies made with female directors, female stars, lead female characters, meant to capitalize on the success of this, but because they're shitty movies, they aren't going to do well. And the message the industry is going to take is going to be, female-fronted superhero movies just don't work.
Yeah, Hollywood is run by a bunch of nerds who aren't really even good at being nerds.
That's true.
They look at these equations or whatever to try and figure out what has worked to project what will work, and then they just do repeats. But the thing is, they're not artists. They don't get that the reason why something does well is because it hits on certain themes or it hit the zeitgeist just at the right time to do. They're gonna they're going to do exactly what you said, make a bunch of clones because they're going to miss the mark on why Wonder Woman did so well, and then they're going to be like, oh, look, we tried it again, it's just not working in all the demographics, I guess we're just going to do this other thing now. It would be really nice to see them actually look at what is making Wonder Woman work beyond the surface level thing that it is a superhero movie.
There's going to be an underlying thing that appeals to women, which is what will make a female character likable, right? Because my question, okay, I'm all for women being superheroes. That's great. You know, I think that we see so many men, and it's great to equalize it. But I think I don't think that's the feminist work that needs. Like maybe that's part of the feminist work that needs to be done in film. But I think the degree of success we think it is, I think it's like a small fraction, maybe. You know, like
it's a small
but in a way,
depicting women in a traditionally male. Are we only empowered when we're depicting ourselves in traditionally male roles? Like, what makes male roles so great? Do you know what I mean? Like, I like women. I think women have always been superheroes in real life. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see a female superhero that fights for 15, like a living wage, and then you know what I mean? Who fights against rape culture? Who not by killing? You know, like for all women to progress. Who fights against neoliberalism? That's my superhero. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So I feel like I haven't seen Wonder Woman, so it's no kind of criticism against that movie. I hear it was really good, but I feel like just in general, just us imitating bad male behavior is not the only. Yeah, if men could do it, we should be able to too. If they're going to be male superheroes, they should be female superheroes. But I don't think that's. I think we're acting like it's a bigger success than it is.
Yeah, it's one piece of a bigger thing.
Having not seen the last Amy Schumer special, just because
so many people I knew
that are fans of hers were like, it's horrible, it's crap. Which normally, like, you know, I'm like, ooh, train wreck, you know, popcorn, let me see this, and not the movie Trainwreck, talking about the human condition of Schadenfreude, you know, ooh, I want to see someone fail. I don't get into that. So I didn't see the last Amy Schumer special, but I think you raise an interesting question there, Raja, because comedians like Kathy Griffin and Amy Schumer kind of, you know, built their reputations on doing, you know, what was traditionally, you know, the realm of male comedians, of being crude, of being insulting, and stepping into that traditionally male role. Do you agree, disagree?
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't think it's...
So do you think, you know, I'm wondering is that part of the bigger picture when you talk about, you know, Wonder Woman and a female superhero? Is it really breaking down barriers for a woman to succeed in a male role?
Yes and no. I think like we need both of those. It's both of those things. We need to, we want a female superhero, and sure, let's have some women who are crude and guy-like. But maybe we also want to put women at the forefront who are doing things that maybe are traditionally feminine and not bag on them for being traditionally feminine. Like, we want things all across the spectrum. It doesn't have to be one way for it to be groundbreaking. Like, why can't a woman be a movie be about like a single mom who's like a hero in her own right, and she's a mom, whatever. Like, do you get what I'm saying? There probably is a movie like that out there.
Well, no. Well, I was going to say I do get it, but the thing is, like, you know, with certain exceptions where it's the theme of the movie, there aren't a lot where, you know, the mundanity of everyday life is celebrated as heroic. And I'm not taking anything away from single moms. I agree with you. No, I know. And I do think that there are things that people do that are, finger quotes, heroic in everyday life and should be celebrated.
There's a deeper issue that I want to get into with that, though, is that I think it's really, when I was growing up, I was very, I was very gender fluid in my childhood. You know, I was growing up, and I think I never really felt very really identified with being a woman until I was an adult, and that's okay, like a lot. And so that's why I really think that ascribing a woman, because somebody was given the birth, doesn't mean she has to act like, or he or they have to act a certain way. You know, I really understand gender is a social construct. So I don't think there's anything wrong with women being someone identifying as a woman and acting crude, or a woman are different. But I think there's a deeper issue, and again, this is not about the Wonder Woman movie in itself, because I didn't see it yet, and I saw the Ghostbusters, and I thought it was great. I love that movie, and I think it's great for girls to watch it. So I'm not saying it's wrong for women to be superheroes by any means, or that it's not progressive, but I think there is a reality that because of the patriarchy, we're socialized to see male behavior as better or stronger or more liberated, you know what I mean, or liberating, when